Hey guys, so this is going to be your first vlog video to watch on Classroom. I'm out here in my garage at my house. Um, I'm probably going to do a couple different videos in a couple different locations here. So some of the videos over the next couple weeks will be in here in my garage for you guys, and some of them will be out in my workshop out behind my house. So you'll get to see a couple things that I'm working on. Really, the point of these videos is to see some of the things that I work on, and maybe you can pick up a thing or two about some of the motorsport stuff that I'm into. Right, that's part of the reason why I started teaching the Motorsport Technology classes. I race motorcycles, so I'm very passionate about racing and about motorsports of any kind, whether it's go-karts or motorcycles or cars, anything like that. It's pretty cool stuff. So what you're going to be seeing today is I have my flat track race bike all torn apart off camera over the last few days. I've torn the motorcycle down to just the bare frame, right? So motor, wheels, forks, rear suspension, gas tank, everything's off of it. I've degreased the majority of everything, so gotten the dirt and the grime and the grease off the frame and off the swing arm and everything, and it's pretty much ready for paint. So the goal here is to repaint the frame so that it's nice and cleaned up and shiny. There's the motor right there. We're going to be degreasing that probably tomorrow, getting it ready for paint. I do have some engine paint like we used on the go-kart, the race go-kart, that I'm going to paint that with. So you'll see me kind of working on that. And we'll repaint everything. And then over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be working on rebuilding it. So putting it all back together. Essentially, it breaks down into one single cardboard box. All the parts are essentially in one box. So you'll see me putting everything back together. Making sure I use Loctite on all the nuts and bolts, torquing all the nuts and bolts to the right torque spec. I do have the original shop manual, not the owner's manual, but the shop manual that has a lot of technical specifications in it. I have that, so you'll see me referencing that quite a bit. So this is just really the first stage, and it's going to be kind of a warm-up video for you guys and how this whole process is going to work with us teaching remotely. So we'll see how this goes. So the first thing is I've got the frame hung up by a coat hanger from the ceiling of my garage, and I'm going to repaint that. I do have some stuff that I'm going to cover up here with some big plastic bags. So all my trophies, over in this area, I'm going to cover those up so no overspray gets on those. So, anytime you're painting inside, there's going to be overspray, little flecks of the paint that don't stick to the part you're painting. So I'm going to try to minimize the overspray in a couple things. So one is going to be the trophies, and then the other is going to be the motor. I'm going to drape something over that. I'm going to give you guys a little bit different view here. There's going to be probably some weird cuts and stuff in the videos. They won't be edited perfectly, but they'll all be roughly 15 minutes or long or so. And your responsibility will be to respond in the comment section on Google Classroom, takeaways, anything that you learned from the video, and we'll have a discussion about that on the comments section of Classroom. So give me just a minute. I'm going to get set up again, and then we'll start painting this. All right, brought you guys back here. I've got the first coat of paint on it. I don't know if you noticed, but kind of the technique, right? We've talked about this. 6 to 8 inches away from the part that you're trying to paint. Real light coats, right? We don't want any runs. So if you overload it, it's going to drip, it's going to run. We don't want that. So we're going real light coats. Probably off camera tonight or tomorrow, I'll get a couple more coats on it to get it perfectly covered. And I do have a couple other things to paint: the swing arm, the motor, which is over there. Speaking of which, that's a 500cc single cylinder Honda motor. A little bit of history behind this bike. It was originally a Canadian farmer's motorcycle. He bought it in 1979 brand new. Rode it up until I think like the late 90s. And then another Canadian guy bought it. He rode it as like a road motorcycle. It is a Honda XL 500. So it was kind of like an enduro motorcycle. And so he rode it down here to the United States, rode it up Mount Washington, all over the place. And when he got back up to Canada, he converted it to race on the ice. So ice racing, So what he did was he de-raked the front forks. So he made the rake on the front forks a little bit less and then put ice tires on it and raced it. And then eventually he raced it or set it up for racing flat track or dirt track and raced some of the vintage national races around the country, around the United States. And a few years ago, about 5 years ago, I bought it essentially from him. And that motor has some pretty cool go fast parts. So Wiseco piston, Carrillo connecting rod, or what else it's got? Megacycle cams, and then a Phalicon crank shaft. So it's pretty well built. I don't know the exact horsepower, but I would assume probably about 50 horse. Could be less, could be more. Who knows? We'd have to have it dynoed, which could be a potential thing if I can get a friend of mine to let me on his dyno. But that we've got to paint. We got to degrease it and then paint it with some engine paint, just like we did on the go-kart, the race go-kart. So over the next couple days, you'll see me paint all these different parts and then start to rebuild it over the next couple weeks. And hopefully when we come back in a session, we get our own little racetrack put back together, ride the go-kart on it. Hopefully I'll have this thing done and ready to ride on our little dirt track. And then you guys will see some videos. I'll probably post some videos of me racing on Google Classroom. So make sure you get on, comment on to Google Classroom. I'm going to post this on Classroom. Comment in the comment section of Google Classroom. Catch you later, guys.